So yeah, gerrymandering has been pretty bad, especially by the Democrats, which again, the media will of course overlook Democrat gerrymandering because of course, only, of course, Republicans gerrymander. Even though this was a struck down gerrymander map, this is actually the third map the Democrats have proposed that was struck down. Two maps of Republicans were struck down, so yeah, the North Carolina map, which again was struck down by a Democrat judge, and the Ohio one, which again they proposed a map that's basically almost exactly like the original map. So there was really no change. But Maryland, this is Maryland's new proposed map here, and yeah. And this is everybody's saying this is a red radio, so this is gonna be pretty bad for the Democrats regardless. So you have one safe red seat, which is basically, in the area that's supposed to be safe red, which they made it like a tilt red seat. Basically, they made it, an 8-0, basically. Okay. On a good year. Okay. This was the map that they proposed here. I think it was this one. I think it was this one. But this map is also more clean. Yeah, one of the problems is they made this area. They actually did make this area Republican leaning. It's Republican leaning by 1 point, but it's a competitive seat. So this could be a seat, where people are going to look out for over, Yeah, but these two seats are also seats to look forward to. Okay, for Republicans. Not the seat in Baltimore. They contain Baltimore. Because this is the old map. They basically, gerrymandered the hell out of the state. This is just really, really bad. Okay. But they got rid of the gerrymandering in Maine. They got rid, not Maine. Maryland. There's no gerrymandering in Maine. But, we have some other bad maps that, should be overturned. Like, of course, Illinois. Which no one is doing that map. Of course, we have dummy manders. These don't get rid of dummy manders. Dummy manders, it's their fault. Okay, for example, New Mexico and Nevada are dummy manders. Okay, they're gonna be complete dummy manders essentially. And another one was thrown out, of course, was Wisconsin. The court thrown out, the Democrat proposal, which was to get them an extra seat. And basically, it's the same map as the original one, the original map in Wisconsin. So, they thrown out that one. And, of course, we all know they threw out the Alabama map. And there were some other maps that were in litigation, of course. A lot of them, Arkansas, Georgia, Kansas, Kentucky. I think a lot of these could be thrown out. Michigan's was already thrown out. Okay, that one was thrown out like weeks ago. Nevada, New Jersey. Yeah, New Jersey's a gerrymander. New Mexico, New York, North Carolina is still in litigation. Yeah, that one. I think they've thrown out the lawsuit, but they're still trying to get it overturned. Pennsylvania. Yeah, Republicans are trying to overthrow Pennsylvania's map, even though it's a very fair map. So, South Carolina, Democrat. It's basically, Texas is the dumbest one. I think, Texas, the maps should be cleaned up, but they'll complain about, oh, they're giving the Republicans so much power. Okay? Like, yeah, Dallas is just ugly, but, some of these, is because of the VRA, because of the stupid VRA things, so you have to draw the districts like this. For example, Austin and San Antonio should not be, Austin, San Antonio, Austin should not be split in half. I think if they really want to contain Democrats, they should make San Antonio its own district and Austin its own district, basically. Okay? Instead of making this disgusting, map here, okay? And make it more clean, because Texas is not going anywhere. Okay? But in this map, there isn't really any competitive seats, okay? There's basically just partisan seats. Now, if you look at the old map, there's, a couple partisan, a couple of swing seats, yeah. And actually, San Antonio had its own seat, but now it isn't. And, yeah, maps like that. Of course, you have Illinois, which surprisingly is still not in. No one is still in Illinois map because This is most likely a dummy Manda map because, I'm gonna go over dummy Mandas as well. I think Illinois is a dummy Manda, if you really think about it. Because they made it, the old map was more safe blue, okay? It had 4 Republican seats, and 2 competitive seats, and 2 in blue seats, and 1 in red seat. So, you had 5 seats, but now the Democrats have to play defense in 6 districts, okay? Total of 6 districts, okay? D plus 7, that's not gonna survive. D plus 7, D plus 10, okay? And if the Republicans want a good candidate in any of these, D plus 12, D plus 10, D plus 7, for example, if they have a Mike Garcia-like candidate in these districts, okay, the Democrats are finished in these districts, of course, because you have a Mike Garcia young candidate. They will basically, for example, Mike Garcia is in a D plus 8 district, versus now a D plus 5, okay, So, you have basically there, but if you want a good candidate in any of these districts, people are gonna vote for that candidate. Unless it's like a safe blue seat, like, oh, let's try to get rid of Cortez. I don't know what's Cortez. Cortez. Yeah, Cortez is this one. They're not gonna get rid of her because it's D plus 50. Unless the Democrats primary out with someone else, the Republicans are not gonna get rid of her. Oh yeah, Lee Zeldin's running for New York governor. Lee Zeldin. He's the guy running for New York governor and New York. But I wouldn't be surprised if New York's map gets overturned. And New Jersey's is also still in litigation. Idaho's which was completely ridiculous. They were saying, oh, Idaho's racist towards, they were saying that Idaho's map is racist towards, this is so stupid, these people. Okay, Idaho has 2 seats, okay. Boise is actually a very Republican city, so there's like 3 Democrat candidates, and there's even like a math that can try to make. It's very difficult to make a blue seat in Idaho. Very difficult. Okay, it's very, very difficult and very, very hard to do that. Okay. As well, but Maryland's, I think the 3rd map they got over there, and they also have Ohio's map, which is a much more clean map. But still, basically, they just cut out a Democrat seat. And, these maps don't go into trends, okay? Which, yeah. This is my next thing about DV6. Maps don't go into trends, which is why there's something called a dummy Manda. I think both New Mexico and Nevada and Illinois are dummy Mandas, okay? New Mexico, we have the Hispanic trend, which these districts are probably going to flip both red. Not this one, not by this one, but these 2 are going to probably flip red. Because this one, yeah, because they have the oil districts here, they have the oil areas, which are going to vote against Biden because of the gas, the energy crisis. And, we have up here, and we have down here, of course. Nevada especially, this state, is trending red, so we're going to have, there was this very strong possibility to have a 4-0 in Nevada. Same thing in New Mexico. If there's the Republicans do extremely good, they could have a 3-0 in New Mexico, and that's supposed to be a safe blue state. Okay. Same thing with Illinois. Okay. Republicans could have a plurality in the delegates to the Illinois House if they want a good candidate. And so these districts, even like these safety, somebody like this district could, if you want a good candidate, the Hispanic trends, McHenry and all those areas are going to vote. Could be even this one might even flip, okay? If we're accounting to trends as well. But, because the Hispanic trends are not just limited to Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona, okay? It's also going to happen in places like Illinois. It's also happening in, Georgia, Pennsylvania. It's again, Georgia is more, the black vote in Georgia, not the Hispanic vote. Hispanics are like 5 to 10% in Georgia. Black votes like 40%. And I don't think it's 40%. 30% in Georgia. So it's much more, different compared to Texas, where it's like 45% Hispanic, 45% white, 10% black. Even though Hispanic in Texas is 80% white Hispanic and 20% non-white Hispanic. So, if you really look at the demographics of Texas, because you look at Filipinos are not Hispanics. Same thing with Haitians. Okay, Haitians, yeah, right, Hispanic and Latino Americans, okay? Most of them, yeah. Here's Texas. Here it is. White Hispanics by state. Okay, Florida, Cubans are mostly white. We all, if you look at Cuba's demographics, it's not too surprising. Okay. Even places like Texas, 81%, which is mostly the Tejanos. Okay, Tejanos are mostly white. Which I'm surprised that Tejanos never voted Republican. I'm surprised that they never voted Republican until now. Okay, Arizona as well. You have a lot of those Tejano types and similar types in Arizona and New Mexico. Well, New Mexico. Okay, Colorado as well. And of course you have the more non-white Hispanics and New Jersey, New York, California, Nevada, and even they are trending against the Democratic Party. Okay. Yeah. And basically, if you look at this, except for Guatemalan and Salvadorian and Dominican, it's like 53% Mexican for Mexico, 53% for Puerto Rican, Cuban 85%, and South Americans 66%, and all other Hispanics. So, yeah, that's South America, and that's all other Hispanics. So it's probably, Panama and all those countries. Jeez. And people often tend to overlook white Hispanics, especially mostly people from Spain, okay? Which Spain is in the heart of Hispanics, I think. Spain, like the actual country is Spain. And, the rest of that, Central America, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama as well. Those countries as well, okay? Yeah, but yeah, New Mexico. Even states like New Mexico, Colorado, and Arizona, you have these Tejanos who have been a long history of living in the state. Okay, these Tejano type voters, long history of living in these states, basically. And it says 50% here. Here. That's what it says on this one. That's the 2020 census, but this is the 2019 ACS, so yeah, but yeah, this is our, and this is in 2010. That's in 2010. Yeah. And even then, the entire group is trained against Democrats anyways, so, people, it's just a misconception that people have about Hispanics that, Hispanics are this, one monolithic group, but they're not. There are many different groups from different countries. Okay, Cubans are not the same as Brazilians, which are considered Hispanic even though they speak Portuguese, not, Spanish, okay? Or, Mexicans are very, very different than Argentinians and Uruguayans, which are mostly white as well. If you look at the demographics of Argentina and Uruguay and Chile, which are all mostly white countries. I think Chile is like 60%. But those countries, and of course Peru, Bolivia, all those countries are all different. That's what I'm telling you guys. All those countries demographically are different, okay? Dominican, Colombia, Venezuela, you have Panama, which is mostly darker skinned people, then, like 80, 90%, and El Salvador as well. Then you have, Cuba. It was like 70% white as well. So that's basically about explanations of it, of Hispanics. So, Yeah, and then of course we have the other trends, is the Midwest working class trends, which is gonna probably, you know, flip even places like, it'll probably, you know, Minnesota's a strange state, so we're not gonna talk about Minnesota, okay? But, you know, this is only, in this, oh, actually it's the same, okay? Like, yes, I actually did try, and the gerrymander, there's a simulation. It's, like, very, very hard to gerrymander the area in Gary. These areas will be, like, likely area. And you'll have to make a whole different seat in the rest of the state. It's very, very hard to gerrymander. And it probably is possible, okay? Those maps, you know, you have a map in, you know, Missouri proposed that, you know, gerrymanders out Kansas City. Of course, it didn't pass, but there was 2 maps that, you know, gerrymandered out, you know, Kansas City as a whole district, basically. And they're keeping in the Kansas City district in these 2 maps. Again, you know, of course, Missouri, you know, might change. Like, for example, Louisville. It's too big to gerrymander, okay? You know, there's gonna be at least 1 district in Louisville, okay? As well. So it's gonna be, you know, Louisville has like 600. The whole entire area has like enough for its own district, its own seat. So, yeah. That's basically about this video. Goodbye.